the Committee on Public Safety to order at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
I have 4 motions this evening. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the expending of such funds and any future grant amendments by the Attleboro Fire Department regarding the FY 2022 Student Awareness of the Fire Education Grant and the FY 2022 Senior Safe Grant of approximately $9,350.
Second.
This, excuse me, this is a grant we've been very fortunate to get every year. I can't remember when we didn't get it. And they do a heck of a job with the students at high school, senior citizens, getting out there and educating them on different things and upgrading them and whatnot. So it's, thanks for who's ever writing that grant. They must have it on zip with the state. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $750 from account 1124100-578300 citywide reserve fund for transfer to account 12201-000-587385 via retrofit lights to replenish funds used to complete the installation of the security cameras.
Second.
Those, thank you. Those are at the South Attleboro Fire Station, by the way. I guess the project is done.
Mm-hmm.
This is just to put money back in the account they took some out of to finish that project. Any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $103,750 from account 1124100-578350 citywide reserve for labor negotiations to account 12101-000-1513001 Police Department lump sum retro to fund section 1C of the memorandum of agreement with the Attleboro Police Association to cover fiscal years 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Second.
This is the contract's been negotiated. This is a short comment. It's a one-time payment. It's contractual.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it over a little bit, and pretty good contract for those guys as well as the city. I think it was done very well.
Yeah, good.
Any comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $249,000 from account 100-35900 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 12101-000-513001 police lump sum retro to fund section 1D of the MOA
Second.
agreement with the police union.
Second.
Any comments, questions?
No, contractual.
It's contractual, but if you read the backup, it's
Pretty good.
probably explained more better this time than I've seen it in the past, so. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Move to adjourn at 7:04.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, I'd like to call Ordinances, Elections, and Legislative Matters Committee to order at 7:05. With me this evening are Councilors Bennett and Councilor Holmes. Just two quick items this evening. Number one is informative in regard to the proposed fee increase at Capron Park. You should have received Derek's email, and he's coming to the public hearing on the 19th. So any questions or concerns you have, he'll be there to answer. And secondly, in regard to the item pertaining to the Historical Commission, we have resolved the issue about appointments. The council does have power to confirm those appointments, so I'm going to read it in and then take a vote so we can get that out before the council and finally get it done. And I don't think I've read it before, right?
No.
And let me say this before I proceed. I had originally proposed 2 potential locations for this proposed amendment. I spoke to the city planner, and I'm in agreement with him that we're going to put it in Chapter 14, Section 7, Planning. All right, so I'm going to read it in that way. So I'm on page 31, and I guess I'm going to read the item as it was entered into the record, and then I'll read the proposed ordinance. So from the docket of April 20th, 2021, request an amendment to City Ordinance 1-12 that states the powers and duties of the Attleboro Historical Commission so that gifting and/or disposition of property can be addressed. The proposed ordinance is to amend Chapter 14, Section 7, to add the following: Historical Commission. A, the Historical Commission was established by the vote of the Attleboro Municipal Council on February 20th, 1968, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 18. The Historical Commission is responsible for the preservation, protection, and development of historic and archaeological assets in Attleboro. B, the Historical Commission shall possess the powers, duties, and responsibilities described in Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section D, as well as other such powers, duties, and responsibilities as may be provided by these revised ordinances, including Section 3-11 relating to raising and demolition permits, and Section 9-46 pertaining to ancient burial sites. For the purposes of protecting and preserving places of historic or archaeological value, the Historical Commission may make such recommendations as it deems necessary to the Municipal Council, and, subject to the approval of the Municipal Council, to the Massachusetts Historical Commission, that any such place be certified as an historical or archaeological landmark. C, the Historical Commission shall consist of 7 principal members and up to 7 alternate members to be appointed by the mayor, subject to confirmation by the Municipal Council. Each principal and alternate member shall be a resident of the city of Attleboro, especially fitted by education, training, and experience to perform the duties of said office. Each principal and alternate member shall serve for a term of 3 years. Principal members of the Historical Commission shall annually elect a chairperson. In the absence or inability to act on the part of a principal member, the place of the principal member shall be taken by an alternate member designated by the chair. D, the Historical Commission shall keep accurate records of its meetings and actions and shall prepare and submit an annual report to the mayor and municipal council.
Second.
Thank you. Pretty straightforward. It basically tracks the Mass General Law that creates these historical commissions. And I think it's a good thing. We'll be getting a report. We've been having discussions of late about historic buildings in the city, so this might help to keep the council up to date on the status of those. Any comments, questions, or concerns from committee members or anybody else? All right, then all those...
Counselor?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Conti.
I might suggest that we dictate when annually they elect a chairperson. That it be the first meeting after the first of the year, or the first meeting after the first of the fiscal year.
We could, although they've been doing this for a long time, and they very well may have a procedure in place that we're unaware of, which
Okay.
I don't know if I would want to disturb their procedure. I personally am comfortable deferring to the commission to set that, but if it's something you want to consider, I would ask that I ask them what their current arrangement is so that we just do whatever they do.
We can always do it next week.
Okay, all right. Fair
Councilor
enough.
Eastman,
Yes.
if I may. I think it's a good point brought up by Councilor Conti, but I think to your bigger point, I think that most likely they have their own bylaws, which will probably state that out.
Yeah. Yep, and I'd be more than happy to double check, but I just as soon ask them, and then we just parallel. If we want to do that, Council Conti, we can just track whatever they're doing. Good? Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Very good. All right, that's all I have for this evening. I would move to adjourn at 7:09, please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Oh, If I may, sorry, President Delacio, would you be able to meet on the 12th at 6:30 to read the Capron Park fee proposed ordinance in?
Yes, 6:30.
6:30 on the 12th?
Yes.
Council Bennett, you good?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry about that, I'm done.
All set, okay, great. All right, I call Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services Committee to order at 7:10. Members of my committee, myself, Council Waterman, Council Blair. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the expenditure of such funds by the Council on Aging and approve any further grant amendments regarding the formula grant and its new process. The $94,182 award is a 10-year rate award contract, and the annual rate is a function of the state budget.
Second.
All right, motion's in order. This is, luckily this is a 10-year, and this is obviously a wonderful thing that they have, and they're looking forward to this. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No, it's normal.
All right, hearing none, we can vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve expending such funds and any future grant amendments regarding receipt of a grant for the SHINE program for approximately $74,746.98 from the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. The funds must be spent by June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Motion's in order. This is obviously another great opportunity from the SHINE program, and we appreciate that very much. They don't have a lot of time to get this spent. It's a short time, and so
They probably got a backlog of payments still, they'll be all right.
yeah, yeah. All right. Any comments, concerns, questions?
Just they have to hustle.
Absolutely. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. For the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Diane Mangiarotti of 50 Oxbow Drive, Attleboro, as the alternate member on the Historical Commission to fill an expired term. Term to expire February 2024.
Second.
Second.
All right. Motion's in order. Basically, this is, everybody knows Diane, and this is basically kind of sort of a reappointment. She's served on the Audible Committee for 18 years. Presently on the Attleboro Library Board of Trustees. She was a middle school Spanish teacher for 27 years at the South Attleboro Middle School, 74 to 1980. She served on many boards in the Attleboro area: Charity Hospital Auxiliary, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, United Way, Attleboro Area Mental Health Board. I've spoken to her several times. She's very excited about this, and I think she's going to be a great addition to this. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Only to restate the fact that she'll be a great, great addition to that board. I've known Diane for a long, long time, and her husband, and they're Attleboro people, care an awful lot about the city, and whatever they do right and put their heart into it.
That's great. Any other questions or comments?
Briefly, thank you. I served with Diane on the library board, and I would echo everything that Councilor Blair said. She's wonderful to serve with, committed, concerned, and very knowledgeable about the city and all of its ways. So this is just another great way to have her help the city.
I completely agree. Thank you for that. Councilor DeSimone. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Motion passes. For the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the reappointments for the positions and for the terms as indicated. Ian Daly, Constable, 1 year, February 2023. Dominic Catoya, Cable Commission, 1 year, February 2023. James Jones, Cable Commission, 1 year, February 2023. Ed Stan, Cable Commission, 1 year, February 2023. Marianne Wrightington, Historical Commission, 3 year, February 2024. Brian Ludwig, Historical Commission, 3 years, February 2024. Rachel Killian, Historical Commission, 3 year, February 2024. Leonard Yutkins, Historical Commission, alternate, 2 years, February 2023. Jeffrey Kiefer, Dog Officer, 1 year, February 2023. Carolyn Eaton, Dog Officer, 1 year, February 2023. Donald Smith, Board of Assessors, 3 years, February 2025. Hang on one quick second. Term of expiration was 2021. However, reappointments were not done in 2021. Expiration date listed keeps terms in line with ordinance.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Motion's in order. This is a great lineup. I think we got a lot of great people here, a lot of committed people. And I think we're extremely lucky with this group and happy to have these all back. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Nope, I agree with you.
All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I entertain a motion to strike the following from the docket of March 15, 2022. I entertain a motion to approve the appointment of Martha Iannazi Conti, 100 Berwick Road, to fill an unexpired term on the Board of Assessors, term to expire February 2024.
Second, unfortunately.
All right, motion's in order. Martha had withdrew her consideration. Any questions, comments, concerns? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I entertain a motion to strike the following from the docket of March 15, 2022. For your information, the Historical Commission has appointed Diane Mangiarati as an alternate member to fill an expired term to expire February 2024. Council confirmation is not needed for this appointment. Second? All right, motion's in order. Basically, we just took care of that. All right, any questions, comments, concerns? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. That concludes business with Personnel, Veterans, Human Services Committee. I move to adjourn. At 7:16. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned at 7:16.
I'd like to call City Property and Claims Committee to order at 7:16. And I have 4 items this evening. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to accept the donation of 25 T-shirts from Max Crawford to the Attleboro Youth Commission to be used at their discretion for Attleboro Youth Commission activities.
Second.
Thank you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but are there any other questions and concerns?
Councilor Reynolds, if I may. Just real quick, I just want to thank Max Crawford for this. So it's not uncommon for the Youth Commission to every 3 or 4 years get shirts. They're the blue ones with the logo, so they wear at the parades, collect them for the fireworks, whatever the case may be. But Max volunteered to donate these, so this is a great donation to the city, and just want to thank Max for his donation.
Thank you. Thank you. President Delicio. Any other questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $499.99 from account 11241-000-578300 Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account 11521-000-542020 Personnel, Supplies, Office Equipment for a new desk.
Second.
Thank you. Again, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. The desk is needed. Any concerns, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Opposed? That motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to surplus the following Police Department firearms. Glock Model 30 with the following serial numbers. KRK 970, XRK 971, XRK 972, XRK 973, XRK 974, XRK 975, XRK 976, XRK 977, XRK 978, XRK 979, XRK 980, XRK 981, XRK 982, XRK 983, XRK 984, XRK 985, and XRK 986.
Second.
Thank you.
Question.
Go ahead. What?
I don't know, if is that a typo, do you think, that first number? Because it's the only one that starts with a K.
KRK? Good question. I don't know enough about serial numbers. Do you? That's a good catch. I don't,
Give me 1 second.
let me look at my,
Yeah, if it does, it's,
Just ask.
yeah.
Just ask and then just do an amendment or something?
Yeah.
It's
It's
even
just-
in,
it
it's
just
even in
comes
his,
on, yeah.
it's in the,
Okay, so maybe it is then.
I mean, it's in, KRK, it's in the, which came over from the police department by Chief Hegney.
Okay.
So I would assume it's correct. I think it's a good enough assumption. It came in the, the material backup. Okay? But
Sorry.
good catch. I didn't even see it. Anybody else have any questions, concerns?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and that motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $37,488 from account 1000-359000 undesignated fund balance free cash general government to account 14201-000-587360 public works ornamental lights to replace 2 damaged ornamental lights.
Second.
Thank you. Again, it's pretty self-explanatory. We have to replace the lighting, so any concerns, questions?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and that motion passes. And that is all the motions I have this evening for City Property and Claims Committee, and I would like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you, and we will adjourn at 7:21.
Thank you. Calling Zoning and Land Use Committee to order at 7:21. Myself, Councilor Conti, and Vice President Copus. I just have an update. I'm inviting Catherine to come in a couple weeks to talk about the FTA grant. It requires a match, and she wants to be able to be here to explain it to us. So that's the only business that I have this evening. And I will call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We adjourn 7:22.
And I'll call IT and infrastructure is canceled for today.
I'd like to call the Transportation and Traffic Committee to order at 7:22. I have one item for the committee tonight. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to call for a public hearing on May 3rd, 2022, to discuss the proposed amendment to Ordinance 10-4.11, isolated stop signs, by adding westbound drivers on Jewel Ave at Hawthorne Street.
Second.
This is to correct the previous motion that had come up through the council but was missing the direction. So this, hopefully, we can bring to the full council. The public hearing is needed because we're adding that direction. So we'll bring a new public hearing and get this through to correct that issue. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And then just a couple of updates for the group before we convene for the evening. I have a couple of items I just wanted to update that have been referred to the Traffic Study Commission. One was the recommendation to prohibit left turn out of May Street onto Newport Ave. And the Traffic Study Commission has that for this week to start taking a look at. And the other one is Angeline Street, and the issues that were raised that came to the mayor from one of the business owners regarding parking restrictions on both sides of that street, as well as the striping and the way that it's laid out, and some concerns about safety. This specifically, if you look at the communication and what came down, had to do with how narrow the right lane, if you're turning from Newport Ave onto Angeline Street, is, and how close to the sidewalk it is. The residents on that street, their mailboxes are right there by the street. So when the cars and trucks are going by, it feels very close and very unsafe. So one of the things that was brought up was, can we take a look at the way that the striping is and see if there's if we can redo that to make it a little bit safer for those residents. And while we're looking at that, to consider whether restriction is needed to prohibit parking on both sides, or whether that can be revised to incorporate some parking on that street. So both of these items, because this is all on the same block, these streets are one street apart from each other, these two items, it made sense to refer those together. so that the Traffic Study Commission can look at that. A change on one of those roads is likely to impact both of those roads and the traffic flow through that area. Are there any questions or comments? Yes.
Hi, Kelly. That was really vetted quite well when we decided no parking on either side. And it affects one business, I believe, the lawyer's office on the corner. It's the police department, fire department, both had conversations about that at the time of that because of coming onto that street. It's narrow. You get large equipment. It's, I thought we did the best thing at the time, Kelly, but, you know, looking at it again, just keep that in mind, that this was well vented.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I will absolutely make a comment. The Traffic Study Commission is meeting this week, so I'll be sure to raise those concerns. Okay.
Kelly?
Yes.
So I'll just echo that, just to say that, and in South Attleboro, that area, the right thing was done at that time. It should be left alone. There's no reason why it should be changed at this point. I mean, that came up several times. We held it, we looked at it, we held it, we looked at it. Really, what's going on down there right now is the best for that area, quite frankly, for that area of South Attleboro.
Thank you, Councilor Reynolds. Yes.
Third time's a charm. The last time we argued about this, it was the attorney that was making a lot of noise, and it was his real estate closings that were causing the problem because it brought so many cars to his office. But he can do his real estate closings at the registry. He doesn't need to do them in his law office. So what we've decided in the past is what I want to stick with, and I'll stay firm there. So you got three councils speaking uniformly about the status quo, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Councilor Conti. Any other questions? Yes.
I'll make it a
Let's see.
fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, this was, not only was this thoroughly vetted, we had the public hearing, we had people coming down, we had, as Peter was talking about, but the other piece, because I don't want to belabor the point, this was one piece of what was supposed to be a bigger puzzle. We had some MassDOT work that was going to be going down, taking into consideration May Street, Newport Ave, Route 1. We have the business that came out last term regarding the drive-throughs and managing the drive-through traffic. So this is all part of a bigger, what was a bigger plan prior to COVID hitting. But that being said, even if there were no other traffic calming measures in that place, I think when we look at the businesses and where it is, I think this is the safest way to do it. I agree with Councilor Conti. You know, there's nothing saying the closing has to be done at the business. I do think that there's some merit in looking at some of the striping and just making sure that we are caring for those residents, because even the residents during the public hearing, they said, look, we understand it's business, we know what's going in. They weren't thrilled about it, they understood. So I think if we could at least look at that striping and make it safe for them to get their mail, I think that makes sense.
Thank you, President Delicio. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Well, that was the last item that I have for this evening. I move to adjourn at 7:28 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We
adjourned.
were doing so good, 7 committee meetings in 28 minutes. That ends here. I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order at 7:28. Sitting on this committee is myself, Councilor Cobus, and Councilor Reynolds. I have several things to bring before you this evening, and much discussion to ensue. So let's start with the docket, from the docket of April 5th, 2022, with a public hearing that was held on April 19th, 2022.
We haven't had,
Point of
Which I
order,
have
it's
to
only
hold, yeah, I have to hold that one.
Gotcha.
Okay, yep, we'll hold that one. So let's then jump down to, from the docket of April 5th, the motion, I entertain a motion to appropriate $90,400 from account 6100-359000 Water Enterprise Fund retained earnings to the following: $40,000 to account 6100-517120 Water Enterprise Fund Health Insurance HMO, $4,400 to account 6100-517240 Water Enterprise Fund Medicare Tax, and $46,000 to account 6100511000 Water Enterprise Fund salary and wages.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. This measure is contractual. There's nothing to really discuss.
No questions.
I don't expect there's any comments or conclusions, so let's just take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $100,000 from account 1000-359000, undesignated fund balance, free cash, general government, to accounts 1660-1000-584059, Cape Cod Park Zoo, master plan, to hire a consulting firm for the preparation of a comprehensive master plan and strategic plan for the Cape Cod Park Zoo.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. So, the zoo is currently accredited, and how they got accredited without a strategic plan is a question that I cannot answer for you. However, the standards specific to a master and strategic plans to be accredited by the AZA, American Zoo Association, state that a strong commitment to master and strategic planning for continuous change and evaluation is the foundation of adhering to a modern zoological practice and philosophies. Strategically assessing all aspects of operation and routinely renovating and/or replacing old exhibits with new modern habitats that are designed with animal welfare in mind is something that is expected of all AZA accredited institutions. Further, I'd like to inform you that this plan has to be updated every 5 years to meet the standard. In the request for proposals that went out February 28th, 2022, the zoo stated that they were looking for an operational roadmap for developing the zoo for the next 10 to 15 years. They further stated that the decision to award the contract for the $100,000 would be awarded April 1st. The deadline for submissions was February 28th. They had 4 or more applicants. They stated in their request for proposal that the consultant's fee was not to exceed $100,000. However, while several of them came in under $100,000, one of them came in a little bit above, and of course that's the one that they fell in love with. The zoo is adjacent to the 6 developed, in addition to the 6 developed zoo acres, next to it are 11 acres of the Frank R. Sweet Memorial Forest. And in the RFP, the zoo stated that this parcel of land is under the stipulation that the area must be preserved in as near its natural state as possible. However, that does not preclude the zoo from expanding into that area as a naturalized manner. Additionally, the 3-acre Dan O'Connell Memorial Field, which I believe is where the farmers market was held last year. This area has the potential to be used for potential expansion of the zoo parking or expansion of the zoo itself. The zoo has 107 animals representing 63 species. Isn't this fascinating stuff? They have an average visitors of 117,000 each year. They have 1,700 members of approximately 10,000 individuals, and 86% of them reside outside the city of Attleboro. The zoo has 15 full-time employees, and 35% of its operational funds through yearly budgeted funding comes from the city of Attleboro, 35%. The budget for the zoo is about $1.5 million. So the purpose of the strategic plan is basically to ensure their commitment to excellence in animal care, as I just told you about making sure the animals are properly taken care of. But the plan is intended to be comprehensive in addressing all 6 acres of the zoo with the possibility of expanding into some of the adjacent parkland and guide the zoo development for the next 5 to 10 years. What they're expecting is a dedicated workshop building with appropriate storage for tools, equipment, vehicles, employees, and amenities, a new building with first floor accessible classrooms, an outdoor amphitheater, an animal ambassador housing and support areas, increased parking, larger splash pad, lighting throughout the zoo to support park evening events, a new and large gift shop with storage, a new food and beverage facility with seasonal satellite facilities, facility rentals and catering capability, new revenue opportunities including a train, TRAIN, and the plan that we're going to receive is going to have the final tabulation of these development costs. The plan will be presented in person or via Zoom to the Master Plan Committee, the City of Attleboro Mayor, and representatives of the Friends of the City Park Zoo. So, thought you might like to know. The motion is for us to approve $100,000 to pay for the consultants to develop this comprehensive and strategic plan. Councilor Cobus, you have the floor.
Thank you. So generally, I'm supportive of this. I'm incredibly nervous about all of these studies and feasibility studies and all these studies that we've been doing and all the money we've been shelling out recently for this. But with that said, I do think having this 5-year plan or having the master plan for the zoo is incredibly important. My question for you is, you mentioned the proposal they fell in love with was for more than $100,000. This request is for $100,000. Where's the extra money coming from?
They're gonna find it.
In the zoo budget, in the city, but
Probably for
where?
the Friends.
Okay. So the 100K is it. Okay. That concludes my questions.
Councilor Reynolds, you have the floor.
Well, here we are again with a mini feasibility problem. And when we get it back for $100,000, there is going to be all these things that people want for much more than $100,000. So I guess my comment is unless we have money to do additional things, why do we keep pushing feasibility studies? Why are we even considering feasibility studies for things that we do not have money to increase the types of things that are being done? I mean, we don't. I don't see it, and I don't see it. So my question is we could easily spend $1 million in feasibility studies, 100,000 here, 100,000 there, 100,000 here. Everybody wants one. Everybody's asking for them. I mean, even the fire and the police. And quite frankly, I don't see that we are going to be able to build a new fire or police station within the next 20 years. I don't see it. We have a school that's we're going to pay for the next 30, close to 40, 35 still left on the books. So what are we doing? I guess I need to know what we're doing and why these people keep asking for these if we know there isn't money for this stuff. And those are my comments.
So, I can answer part of your question because I did read all of the material that was submitted to me at my request. The zoo in the past has done some capital campaigns, and they have raised substantial amounts of money, over $1 million in 1985, I think, to build the nocturnal exhibit. And again, in later years, a big capital program to put a fence around and build islands in the pond and walkways. So they have done a really decent job of raising substantial amounts of money in the past. What I hear you saying is that it's possible that the strategic plan or comprehensive plan may get too aggressive, that they may wish for too much too fast, that they outstrip their ability to raise their own funds to be able to develop to their strategic plan. Which is why, frankly, I brought you all this information, because I wanted all the councils to hear what was in the request for proposal and what it takes to be accredited by the zoo, because I believe we need an accredited zoo. If the zoo is not accredited, why do we have it? And in its accreditation, it ensures that those 173 animals are properly cared for and in a humane way, which I want to see. Everybody wants to see. So here I am split. There's Ricky over here and Ricky over here, and the two of them are yelling in my ears, and they're saying different things. this guy is saying exactly what you just said. Here comes another feasibility study. Here we go again. But this one over here is saying the zoo is without a doubt a jewel of the city of Attleboro. The fact that 86% of the people that are supporting it are not from Attleboro is stunning.
Crazy.
So, I guess the message I would like to send to the zoo is, okay, I'm willing to give you the $100,000, but understand that if you come up with development costs, you got to come up with a development plan. Because you can't rely on the city that is already, if you looked at the debt Bible that was sent out today, it's already stretched pretty thin thanks to a new high school. I think the fact that they get a strategic plan will help them keep their accreditation with the AZA. And so for that reason, I support this. And I believe that updating the strategic plan in accord with the standard is not going to cost $100,000 every time they have to update the plan. The big bite is to get the first one, because Councilor Reynolds, the zoo has never had a comprehensive plan, ever.
So if I may, then, if the 100,000 is going to help them get accredited, I can see that. That's a point that's well taken. But as you said, they better be sure that whatever they're looking to do, I mean, we're talking about additional land, the sweet land, and where the farmer's market used to be, these are things that cost a lot of money. So they better know that if they want these things done, whatever shows up in this is their issue. They have to raise by private funding, some way.
All set? I saw Councilor Delicia, then Councilor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you. Just because I initially had the same concerns Councilor Reynolds had, but this isn't necessarily a feasibility study, correct? This is a master plan in order to ensure that the zoo continues their accreditation.
It's a comprehensive and strategic plan.
Right, which is a little different than a feasibility study.
A little different than a feasibility
A little
plan.
different.
And I think what sets this aside is the zoo's ability to generate revenue on two different fronts. One, through the fees that are in Councilor DeSimone's committee, as well as we saw last October, there was the first wedding. So I think that Derek Corsi and Lou Stevens have been creative in how we're generating revenue. So to me, if it's going to help us the zoo stay accredited, when you have 86% coming from outside of Attleboro, that tells me it's not just a jewel, but it's a destination, it's an attraction. So I think that that's something we can capitalize on, and if we can get some of those parties, and if we can get some of those learning sessions and camps and things that they used to do, that's another source of revenue. The other thing I would ask, what I'd like to see, and I don't know if it's necessarily this or it's certainly a Deb Gould question, I know there's still a lot of salaries in the revolving fund. So that is something as we go towards the budget, or even with this master plan, hopefully we can get some guidance there as well. That always has concerned me. Thank you.
Councilor Holmes, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm generally supportive of this. I think that the landscape over there is going to be changing completely with the new high school and the old high school. So it would be nice to kind of see what their thoughts are with that. So I do think that this would be helpful. But I'm concerned when I keep hearing about the outside theater. There's already one there. Then Highland Park's going to have, no.
Yeah. Good point.
So that is one of the things that I would have to say about that, but I am generally supportive of this.
Councilor DeSimone.
Yes, very briefly, I share some of Councilor Reynolds' initial reaction to these requests. However, and I was speaking to Councilor Delicio before the meeting, we're in a very interesting situation because there's a short-term, long-term here. This feasibility study or strategic plan could result in increased revenue for the zoo, in which case it's an investment for the city, and I'm fully support. Despite our current economic situation, we need to continue to grow and evolve. I am not ready to turtle up here, because if this city turtles up, we're DOA. So we have to find that balance between austerity and being careful, but also realizing we have a future, and our future is people. It is people who move here and people who come here. So, as I told council, I'm going to try to strike that balance. I'm going to support this, and I'm going to sincerely hope that one of the main things that this accomplishes is to increase revenue opportunities. And if it does that, it's money well spent. So, although I have some concerns, I'm going to hope that that's the outcome. However, I do think it speaks to a larger issue of there's a lot of things going on in the city that I feel we don't know about. What is the plan? What's the long-term plan for Highland Park in the amphitheater that I support? I think there's a lot of pieces, and I don't know if the pieces and the people are talking to each other, or at least they're not talking to us. And I know that everybody's fully vested in their different roles, but you get one piece from the right side, one piece from the left side, and sometimes they're like ships passing in the night. So I want a bigger picture, whether it's from the administration or Catherine Farrick, about what do you see? Where are we going? Let's not duplicate efforts. Let's not waste time or money. And how can we capitalize on our resources? So I think Council Reynolds' point speaks to kind of, I'm feeling that too. Like, what are we doing? We're just kind of like, shooting spitballs in the dark. I want to know what the plan is and have that vision. And I think we need to have a vision again, because if we're going to survive, we need to evolve. We cannot turtle up in fear about the unknown future, which is unknown now, no more than it was unknown 5 years ago. We have to evolve. Our future is people. So that's what I'm thinking. That's our future here. When, big business ain't coming back to save us. It's going to be people and new residents and visitors who are going to save this city and get us through. So that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you for surrendering the floor. I'd like to add a few things to your comments that support your comments. Each time the zoo has had a major influx of cash to make a renovation has resulted in a higher participation in the zoo. The last big development was when they put in the splash pad, which was enormously popular. And before that, it was the nocturnal building, which was the first in the country. That's rather significant. Before that, it was the polar bear exhibit, which was really novel for the city of Attleboro to have a polar bear that lived, I think, 38 years. So in reading all of the material, I've seen where investment in the zoo has resulted in a greater participation from the community. And I agree with you. What did you call it, turtling up? That's the death of the zoo. And we can't, in my opinion, let that happen. So you've done a good job of articulating my two fellas here that have been, and I think that anyone in the zoo listening to tonight's meeting is getting a very good dialogue for guidance of what they can expect in the future, which is the whole point of what I wanted to have happen tonight. Does anyone else have anything? Yes, Councilor Waterman.
I totally agree with Councilor Delicio in terms of it being a destination point. How many communities can say they are a destination point for anything? And if that's the case, do we have any sense of how many visitors we've been averaging before the pandemic?
They said in 117,000 is an average. Now, of course, with the pandemic, that's been down.
Right.
But I expect, and I think what I've heard is that since the pandemic mandate has been lifted and the weather's been nice, the crowd's coming back. So I would expect 117,000 visitors at a minimum this year.
Well, I will be supporting this. Absolutely.
Anything else from anyone else? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. From the docket of April 5th. I entertain a motion to amend the Attleboro Council Rules and Procedures by adding 7-1.4, the Finance Committee description and responsibilities as follows. 7-1.4 Finance Committee, whose purpose shall be to review the city budget, set the city tax rate and split transfers affecting the budget between account and departments, interact with accounting, budget, and administration, treasurer, auditor, assessor, collector, and mayor's office. This member shall attend the Finance Committee meetings of the School Committee, receive their meeting agendas and minutes. Additionally, this committee shall evaluate all capital improvements of the general, the school, enterprise, budgets, and departments. The committee shall review capital development projects as they may come down before the council, including IDP, streetscape, downtown revitalization, and CDBG. Chairperson of this committee shall be named to sit on the CDIB board for the duration of their term. The chairperson will act as the liaison in the City Council and the Attleboro Redevelopment Authority. The committee shall typically interacts with all city departments. 1. Items that go before the committee. A. Budget, revolving accounts reauthorization with continuing balances for the following year, annual, Charter Section 6-1 and 6-2. B. Settle the rates for water, wastewater, and trash. C. Water and wastewater enterprise budgets, annual and miscellaneous appropriates and transfers. D. Tax classification and tax factor tax rate, November or December. The Massachusetts General Law is Chapter 59. E is loan orders. F is capital improvement plan program in January. G is the certified projects, Section 2-17.2. H, tax increment financing zones, Section 2-17.3. I, exemptions from property tax, Section 2-17.4. J, district improvement finance zones. K, community development block grant entitlement. L, industrial development. L1, public hearings are required for A, budgets and reauthorizations with continuing balance for following year. B, water, wastewater, and trash enterprise budgets and establishments for the year. C, tax classification and tax factor, the tax rate. D, loan orders and amendments to loan orders. E, capital improvement plan program. F, community development block grant entitlement. And I want to add one thing. Back up where it says the chairperson of this committee will be named to sit on the CDIB. It'll also be sitting on the E, Economic Development Incentive Board, EDIB.
Second.
And maybe that was supposed to be the EDIB, the CDIB, EDIB. Let's get it in there to make sure it's there. Thank you, Councilor Cobus, for the second. So, I have to say that this is different. I don't know if you knew it when you decided that you were going to do this, but you've increased my workload about 150%.
Well, you seem like you had a lot of free time.
You seem to be doing just fine.
You like this stuff.
This is, in my opinion, very exciting. This is, I think, Councilor Delicio, congratulations. I think it's a brilliant idea, and I'm eagerly tackling the challenge with great zest, as you've already seen. So, anyone have any comments about the Finance Committee? Yes, Councilor Delicio.
Yeah, thank you for the words, and thank you for Vice President Cobus's assistance in this as well. I think we used to have the Finance Committee. I don't want to go down that whole road again, but you're right, it's an awful lot of work, but if you're thinking about it, you've already been doing the work. Now you're just the chair of a committee that makes sense because now there's more symmetry. And as we've talked about, and you've done a great job advocating for capital improvements throughout the year to the point that finally we have a line item. As we talked about last year, maybe this is the first step to getting a line item for capital improvements in almost every department. Maybe it's caught before the horse, I don't know yet. But I just think that where everything is still so cyclical, in you get your capital improvements, you figure out what that looks like, then it goes in a budget. I just think the symmetry's there. And Rick, honestly, there's no one better to chair this than you.
Well, thank you. Councilor Bennett and I were speaking before the meeting, and I see it as the pig and the python. It's a big challenge at the beginning of the year, but by the time you get to the end of the year, it's really not a problem at all. So now that I understand the calendar challenges, that's easy to move everything around and make room for it, and I think it's going to go fine. Anything else? Motion, yes.
And just with this motion, there are a number of typos, so just if we could sort of straighten that out before we get it before us for next week. But other than that, it's all pretty straightforward. And I can make comments on that and send it through Virginia. And
All she needs to do is run a spell check over it, and she should pick it up.
Yep. So no other comments.
So you're surrendering the floor. Any other? Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Going on to page 9. From the docket of January 4th. Nope. Yes. For the public hearing on February 15th. Entertain a motion to approve the city's capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2023-2027.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Cobus. Second Cobus. So I've asked you all to look at the plan, and I hope you all have. And I'm going to first ask my committee members if you have had the opportunity to isolate particular projects in the capital improvement plan that you would like to see have a priority in the coming fiscal year. Councilor Cobus, I'll call on you first.
So, in going through this, there were only a couple that I thought would probably make sense that we had, urgent items that we had not already started to fund. One of them being potentially the, what was it, the carpets in for the library at 175.
Yep.
Sorry. The other one was to for the planning department to update the comprehensive plan. I don't think we've funded that yet. That was, it's on page 22.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. And then the other big items we have already funded, like the road lights, HVAC for the rec center, I thought it made sense, for the rec department. And then there were a number of requests for Willett. The facade, I think we've already,
Refunded.
yeah, we've already done that one, but there was the additional air conditioning units and the roof for Willett.
For Willett.
What's that?
For Willett only?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those were the items I identified that I'd like to see.
Counselor,
care of.
I'm surprised you did not select the Cisco switches for budget and administration.
No, I think we need to look at sort of the bigger picture. Those probably make sense, but I'm not, I decide not to advocate for those until we have sort of a broader plan.
So if I advocate for them, are you going to give me an argument against it?
I won't, no.
Okay, all right. Councilor Reynolds. I'm
Sorry, in the other item, just I thought it was odd, and I could reach out to the police chief and fire chief, that the joint public safety complex was listed as urgent for 2024. And I don't know that that meets the criteria for urgent, and I struggle with that a little bit. And I supported the feasibility study for that building. I don't want to spend the extra money that was listed for the engineering design this year, and intentionally did not want to raise that as a thing or advocate for it. So that concludes my
All
comments.
set. Councilor Reynolds.
So I went over, and I'm pretty on board with what Counselor has already said, but also what you put here. You know, you changed numbers around and whatnot, and that's how I kind of reviewed, is went in. I'm obviously myself all for the Willett facade and the work being done at Willett, which would be the HVAC and the roof, because I think that these older buildings are things that we, over the years, have not maintained, and now we're getting stuck with high cost problems. But you know, if we had done it like you should, maintain them over the years, we wouldn't be here. And I think that these, especially Willett, which is a great looking school, and we should keep it and maintain it. I'm all for the library carpet. I mean, I don't know if they got the test back yet, that mold test. Did we get that, Counselor?
What's that?
They were going to do a mold test on the carpet.
No, I was asking for a mold test.
Oh.
I'm an advocate also for the carpets in the library, but I had added mold test. That was my comment.
Oh, all right, that was
apologize.
yours. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought that we had asked them for that, but I like
Will.
that. Yeah, and again, I'm all for the HVAC at the recreation center. I mean, it's a big building. Again, it's something we have to maintain, and I think that that's something that should go through. But all of these in the manner that you put them, I agree with.
Okay, you all set? So I think that I'd like to see the Cisco switches put in, because I don't want to send the Russians any ransom money. And the Cisco switches are the front line for the internet protection, and I think that if we're going to spend money, we are so reliant on the internet in everything we do every day that that has to have, yes, it doesn't meet the standards of urgent because the public safety is not in harm, but the operation of the city is. So I've put that Cisco switch on the
I
list.
saw that you did, yeah.
My other thoughts are that if we're going to do the Willett School HVAC and the roof, that we should do Hill Roberts and Hyman Fine as well. That
Agreed.
kids are going to get just as sweaty at Hill Roberts as they are at Willett. So I think that
I'm okay
all the
with that.
schools,
Yeah, I'm good
you're all
with
right
that.
with that. The resurface, the parking, that's a whole nother story. That's something that I think the school department needs to do some work on. And they are very creative. Mark Furtado is a wizard at getting things done on that budget. So that's the committee's comments. The councilors want to offer any additional comments? Councilor Delicios, are you first, then Councilor Waterman, and Councilor Dolan.
Just one, and I understand what Vice President Kobus is saying about the Joint Public Safety Complex. I think that was just a timing issue, because we voted on that December 21st on the Joint Public Safety Complex, and the capital improvement wish list was due in November timeframe. So I just thought that was a important point of clarification, because I couldn't remember, was it last term or was it the beginning of this term? And I believe it was the end of last term.
Yeah, I would, if you're done,
All set.
I would say that if the feasibility comes back and the building commission selects a architect, that there's going to be a budget assigned to that, and that's definitely either a bond or it's an override vote.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the debt Bible that was issued this week, and by the way, on April 12th, there's going to be an intense discussion about the budget of where we are to today. There's going to be an intense discussion about the 3-page memo that's in my committee from the mayor about finances. There's going to be an intense discussion about the debt Bible and the financial statement. So prepare for a long finance meeting on April 12th and move things around if you can to accommodate that, because I want the counselors and the taxpayers to understand this is a great opportunity in municipal finance education. Because I've lined up Jeremy and Deb
Right.
to come. We'll put a table here and we'll have a little work session with the committee, and all the councils can just jump right in.
If I may, I'd love to see this done quarterly. I think it's that important. I share a lot of the concerns Councilor DeSimone raised earlier. I think quarterly is really important, especially in this day and age.
We did quarterly, the last sentence you stated has a very big impact, and it, because of the inflationary pressures. We used to do quarterly finance updates under Councilor Kirby's chairmanship of the, and your committee in the past. And we got out of the practice because the first quarter is pretty boring. The second quarter doesn't really have much exciting going on. It's the third quarter where the rubber hits the road.
Exactly.
And it's also true in the school budgets, you know, because I've attended a lot of finance school subcommittees meetings, trying to understand that school budget.
Cumbersome.
What a monster. I'll stop there because I don't want to take too long. Councilor Waterman, you have the floor.
Oh, thank you. Well, speaking of schools, in the past month, I had the opportunity to visit 8 of our schools and go walk around with the principals and some of the other staff. And I would say 2 things stood out. And one we're addressing is Willett. I'm very, very pleased to hear this as far as the HVAC goes, because they were sweating like nothing else. Last May and June was horrible there. The other one, I'd like to ask where the status of the HVAC in Wamsata is.
I believe that is under work and may even approaching completion, because that's on a contract with Train.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all under the school department jurisdiction, so we really don't have,
We don't have to worry about
we
it.
don't have to worry about
Okay,
that.
great. Thank you.
All set? Counselor Dolan?
So I have, so I have the school, the HVACs. I also have the recreation, HVAC, but I also have the recreation ADA recommendations. That's listed as urgent.
But we have grants for the
Well-
ADA compliance.
It doesn't
But
say that, yeah.
But we can put it in, but I don't think we're gonna need to fund it. So I'll make sure it goes in.
Well, do we know if we have the grants
Yes.
to fix those?
Yes, we do.
All right, because it says city here, it doesn't say grants.
I'll
So-
put it in anyway.
And so I had the air conditioning for the schools, well, the HVAC. The body cameras we already funded, the Wolfenden fountain, I feel like we've talked about this
Yes.
1,000 times. Like, what, does anybody know anything? Anyway, that's listed as urgent, I thought we were just gonna rip down the
Yeah,
fence.
fountain that's open,
I
yeah.
don't know, maybe I'll call Derek on that. The carpet in the library, although, what happened there? We just spent like $1 at the library, and
The
now we have.
$1 took care of the exterior. Yeah, only.
And then I wrote Briggs Corner Fire. What did they need? That's the only fire I had. I don't know what page that was. I didn't write it down.
Twin Village renovations on page 29.
Yes.
Major
I feel-
renovations, Briggs Corner, TBD.
Yeah, I feel like maybe that Twin Village gets a little neglected. So I did have them on the list, and that's all I have on my list.
Very good. Anyone else? Councilor Bennett?
Thank you. The only item that's different from what's already been raised that I had made a note about was the HVAC upgrades to the senior center, and understanding that we're talking about the potential that we'd like to see a new senior center, but it may be some time before we do, particularly in an environment where we have senior citizens who may be at higher risk. This to me seems like a big priority item. It is listed as TBD, and there's also a note that says that there may be funds available to help with this. So I wanted to raise this because I think this, especially in light of COVID and what we've been through the last couple of years, should be a priority item.
All set?
Thank you.
I
Yes.
do believe that ARPA funds will cover the rooftop for the HVAC, but it will be in our recommendation to the mayor.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any comments? Okay. I will prepare a statement for the mayor that I'll read into the record in 2 weeks that we can approve. But I would like to take a vote to approve the city's capital improvement program for fiscal year 2023-2027. The motion's in order. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Next, on the senior center. I mentioned the last time that there was something brewing about Highland Park with the senior center. And I received a call from Jack Jacoby, who filled me in, and I met with the mayor, who filled me in, and made the decision, after speaking to the two of them, that I needed to talk to Catherine Hvac and Jeremy Stoll. So, in contacting Catherine Hvac, our Economic Development Director, I asked her whether or not there was any interest in the purchase of the 5 acres that were formerly the Highland Country Club site. She said she has 2 people interested in purchasing the site and monetizing it. So I asked her to prepare for us an estimate, including ranges, of what she think that site might sell for, together with, depending on what that use is going to be, what the annual taxes would be. Now, there would be personal property taxes, and there would be meals taxes, and there would be real estate taxes. So my concern is that the Highland Country Club site stands a good chance of being a monetized entity, perhaps maybe with a revolving fund to support the park in the future, and that it may not be appropriate to make that into the senior center. But the counselors need the information in order to make the decision. So, Catherine is preparing for the council what she thinks this 5-acre site might sell for and what she thinks maybe that tax stream would look like going forward. Secondly, Jeremy Stahl is concerned about the costs. The mayor was thinking if he threw $500,000 into the mix, that maybe volunteers could renovate and update and get that to an acceptable standard, and I seriously doubt it. Building costs have gone up tremendously. That building's gonna need an elevator to be ADA compliant. It needs 2 kitchens, one for downstairs, one for upstairs, commercial kitchens, extremely expensive nevertheless. Jeremy's concerned about the money. So I've asked him to address that on April 12th. Another reason why that meeting is gonna go a little bit longer. Additionally, I've got Assessor Hobson working on 14 parcels of land in the city that are vacant, owned by the city, and are Form A lots on main streets that we're sitting on, and we're really not in the business of sitting on property. We really need to get those properties into the hands of Catherine Fierick and Laura Gignac and get them transferred into people that can develop them and monetize those as well, and perhaps one of them could be a potential site for the senior center. So Assessor Hobson has an assignment that she's off trying to develop. Finally, I did speak with Council on Aging Director Melissa Tucker and asked her to please visit Taunton, Fall River, and New Bedford's Council on Aging centers to ask and see their plans on what they're anticipating for the type of activities their seniors in those cities are looking for in the next 3 to 5 years, so that can be put into the proposal for the feasibility study, much like we just heard for the proposal for the comprehensive plan for the zoo. So the senior center has 4 city workers out on assignment to give us the information we need to make an intelligent decision about the vote on a feasibility study for the senior center. Don't expect any action anytime soon. Finally, we've already handled the Attleboro Historical Commission. Yes, Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, to Councilor DeSimone's point earlier about Highland Park, we really do need to have a full plan here. It's just feeling very fragmented. Everything is, I'm not seeing a full picture, so.
You're right.
Councilor, you remind me of the fact that the senior center is in a building that used to be a fire department. And what did they do? They patched it up to fit a senior center. And it sounds to me like it's history repeating itself with Highland. It sounds like someone's trying to get something accomplished quickly and looking for a fast fix, and that I don't think is the proper answer for the Council on Aging. And I think that's what you're expressing?
Yes.
Oh, good. That concludes the business that I have to bring before you this evening, unless you have something you wish to bring up. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I declare the Finance Committee adjourned at 8:13. And I will call to order the Special Committee on Tax. If I can find it.
It's in front of
It's on there.
you.
Page 34.
34.
Page 34. Thank you. Double-sided pages.
I know, it's like locked everybody here.
So I'm calling the Special Committee on Tax Abatement Review to order at 8:14. Sitting on this committee is Councilor Conti, Vice Chair DeSimone, and Councilor Bennett. And on this is I want to report to you that the activities, let me just do this. From the docket of September 18th, 2018, I entertain a motion to strike the following, quote, create an elderly and disabled taxation aid fund, and change it to, I entertain a motion for the municipal council to adopt the local option defined in Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 60, Section 3D, thereby establishing aid to elderly and disabled through a taxation fund via a voluntary check-off donations.
Second.
Thank you. This is moving ahead quickly for government.
Yeah.
The city collector had to come up with a way of getting the money from the public into a fund. And that involved the orchestration of the bank and the way that we handle money through our electronic payment system. And that took a while because the bank had to put some things in order as well. So Laura, the treasurer, city treasurer, the city assessor, the city auditor, and the city tax collector have all been working together, and they think they're close. So I've asked them to call together a meeting the end of March, beginning of April, and invite me. I'll take the day off to attend the meeting because I want to see this put down and finalized for the committee to approve. But what it basically will do is when we receive our tax bills twice a year, with 2 quarters in each tax bill, there'll be a box where you can check off on each tax bill that you can donate $100, $1,000, tax deductible, to go into an elderly and disabled tax fund. And that will go into a fund, and then the committee will be established by the mayor that will consist of the city assessor, the city treasurer, and 3 members of the public to sit on this commission. And they will have guidelines, and the guidelines are that people applying for the funds must be over 60 years old, must have specialized income limitations, must have owned a house in the city of Attleboro for 8 years. So there's criteria to which, and of course the commission is going to look to see whether or not all other avenues have been exhausted. Because this is intended to be a last ditch effort to save somebody's ownership of their house. And I hope we have this all done by the end of April. Okay, so that's what I have to report on that. So the motion is to strike what we had and change it to what we'd like it to become. And the motion's in order. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Only to say I'm glad this is coming together. I know you submitted this idea in 2018. I stumbled across the MGL a few months ago. Glad we got together and we can get it done. That concludes my comments.
Councilor Bennett.
I do have one comment. I noticed that with regard a little bit further down, I know you didn't read all of it into the record, but where it says the 3 residents of the city or town that would sit on the committee to be appointed by the mayor, does this also need to come to the city council for confirmation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just we should probably
Appointed
maybe
by,
wanna
yeah, well,
that.
I didn't read it because it's going to become part of the law and when we're ready, but it's appointed by the mayor and approved by the council.
Yeah, it's per the charter. The charter gives us confirmation powers.
Right.
That
So any other
concludes my-
comments about the fund? Motion's in order, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. I entertain, from the docket of September 18, 2018, I entertain a motion to strike the following. That the city of Attleboro create a local property tax freeze program that will bar property tax increases for certain seniors and other eligible populations who are on a fixed income and most affected by an increase in taxes.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor DeSimone. So I want to tell you what the city solicitor has to say about this measure. I asked her whether the city could create a local property tax freeze program that would bar property tax increases for certain seniors and other eligible populations who are on a fixed income and most affected by an increase in taxes. Her office spoke with Kenneth Woodland, Chief of the Municipal Finance Law Bureau, Department of Revenue, regarding the municipality's ability to create such a program. According to Chief Woodland, there are two possible options for a municipality to achieve this result. One, not raise any taxes at all. In order not to run afoul of equal taxation principles, this would have to apply to everyone in the city. Or, two, seek special legislation from the Commonwealth authorizing the city to implement its own abatement type process, creating an additional exemption for qualifying seniors, independent of the tax exemption currently available in Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59. Such legislation would include creating a senior means test, which would specify a list of criteria that a senior would need to meet to be eligible for the exemption. An individual would need to apply for the specific exemption created by the special legislation, such as seen in Chapter 91 of the Acts of 2010, which is titled, An Act Providing for Tax Exemption for Certain Qualifying Real Estate in the Town of Hamilton, and also proposed legislation, House Bill 4107, an act authorizing the town of Lincoln to establish a means-tested senior property tax exemption program. So although Attorney Woodland did not explicitly say that a tax freeze program for seniors was prohibited, he did stress that the only way to prevent an increase in property taxation for certain populations is through the one of the two avenues listed above, choosing not to raise taxes or special legislation. Thus, it appears that a municipality may be able to provide opportunities for an eligible person to apply for a tax exemption, but it cannot implement an automatic freeze on property tax increases as proposed. Ergo, the motion to strike. Any other comments? Nope. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes unanimously. Thank you. That concludes the business that I have to bring before you this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Council DeSimone. Motion's in order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I declare the special committee for tax abatement review adjourned at 8:22. Thank you.
I'd like to call Public Works Committee to order at 8:22. I have about 10 motions, and it looks like it's just me and Councilor Angelo. So I'd like to call the Public Works together. Did I already say that? I already said that, 8:22, sorry. First motion, from the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to authorize the expenditure of the FY 2023 Chapter 90 aid for $1,206,095 and any other future grant amendments into Fund 3108, Chapter 90 projects, for the purpose of funding Chapter 90 eligible projects as approved by the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, Mass DOT.
Second.
So this is just to spend our Chapter 90 funds, like we normally do. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $25,775 from account 1000-359000, undesignated fund balance free cash general government, to account 14201-000-548010, Public Works gasoline fuel, due to an increase in gas prices.
Second.
So this, along with the next one, I'll be, the next gas one, one's for regular and one's for diesel. So obviously, everybody knows that the gas prices have all gone up. They have not had to ever ask for an appropriation till now, because that's a line item in the budget. They might increase that line item. Jeremy Stahl might look to increase it this, for this budget round. And so, you know, everybody's seen the DPW building. They serve every single recreation, police, fire. They do also do water and wastewater, but they're reimbursed by them. So does anybody have any? Councilor DeSimone?
Thank you, Councilor Dolan. I'm just asking, in that it's March, is there any expectation that there'll be another request coming down the road before the end of the fiscal year?
He doesn't know. He can't predict that, because we can't predict, you know, when they predict how much they need, then they go year by year, but then obviously COVID screwed up their numbers, typical numbers, because things went down, now it's up substantially, the usage and the price. He doesn't expect it, I did ask him that question, he doesn't expect it, but he can't guarantee. But again, you know, with COVID being kinda behind us, there's a lot more going on, a lot more traveling, and we're using a lot more gas, and gas is high right now. So that's why we are where we are. Does that help you at all? Answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to transfer $3,500 from account 16301-000-511000 recreation salary and wages to account 16301-000-52010 recreation heating due to increase in heating costs.
Second.
Thank you. Again, this is the same thing. This is, oil prices have gone up, so heating has gone up, and thankfully for Dennis Walsh, we've been funding all sorts of stuff from whomever he didn't decide to hire to fill a position, because they're transferring from salary and wages, so he's taking money from that account, so. Good for Dennis.
For Dennis.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $55,508 from account 1000-35900, undesignated fund balance free cash general government, to account 14201-000-548011 public works diesel fuel due to the increase in consumption and pricing.
Second, sorry.
Thank you. Same as above. Does anybody have any questions? Counselor DeSimone?
Thank you. I understand the increase in pricing. What's the increase in consumption due to?
Well, from the past couple years, consumption's gone up because consumption was down during COVID.
Okay.
That's what Mike Tyler told me, is that if you look, did you see the chart he provided
No.
in the backup? There's a chart in the backup documents for like the past previous years.
I would have thought I didn't know if they would have budgeted for that, for normal consumption, if you will, pre-COVID consumption. That's all.
Well, they usually do. They have a line item in the budget.
Right.
But with the increase in consumption and prices, it didn't cover it. You know what I mean? I mean, are you just focusing on the word consumption?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, but
I
I'm
can
sure it's
certainly
primarily driven by,
discuss that.
it's pricing at the end of the day. It's-
Right, so we'll just delete consumption, we'll just say pricing. Anyway, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $30,250 from account 6000-35900 wastewater enterprise fund retained earnings to account 6000-589072 wastewater enterprise fund grit screw to replace 2 lime slaker grit remover assemblies.
Second.
Thank you. So this is, it's basically, they can't get parts for the old piece, so they have to retrofit it and enable, because it's not functioning right now. Let me just get to my notes. So apparently this is a very important device that controls the pH, and it's currently not working. So they need to order the parts to be able to retrofit it, so they can get parts in the future, because they don't have any parts because it's 16 years old. Because the design changed. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I could just say yada, 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 because then he starts getting into stuff that I'm like, okay, thank you. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $25,600 from account 1000-35900, undesignated fund balance free cash general government to fund 3571 Peters Avenue Bridge to be used to cover the cost of an amendment in the current contract for the replacement of the Peters Ave Bridge.
Second.
Thank you. So this is for a permit. This is a permit fee. This isn't a good story either. I don't know if anybody wants to hear it, but this is for a permit fee to work in the wetlands area. And we had so these are big projects that have been going on for a while. So we had an engineering company that did all the bidding and all the numbers, and they assumed, and this applies for the next motion as well, they assumed that municipalities were exempt from having to get this permit, and we're not. So now we have to pay for it.
Who's the permit paid to? Who's the permitting authority?
So it's Chapter 91. It's a Chapter 91 license to work in the wetlands. I don't know. I don't know if it's the state, because this one and the next one were grant funded. So I assume it's the state that we would have to pay it to allow us to be able to work, because it was Nick Wiley that said, no, you can't, we're not exempt. So both of these, and then the next one I'm gonna read, were grant funded. We had grants for the complete thing, but then we found out we had to pay for this permit. And so here we are. Does anybody have any questions on that? But there's good news. We'll pass this one first. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, so the next one, same thing. From the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to appropriate $34,285 from account 1000-35900, undesignated fund balance free cash general government to fund 3570 Peckham Street culvert to cover the cost of the amendment in the current contract for the replacement of the Peckham Street culvert.
Second.
Thank you. So this is the same, this is exactly the same thing that happened. We needed the Chapter 91 permit to work in the wetlands that we did not get, that we were not aware of. So it's not any fault of DPW or anybody working on this project. So the good news is, once we get these permits, from what Mike Tyler says, we're shovel ready. Meaning, both of these projects that are not complete yet, that have been grant funded, that he believes that we'll get grants to complete them. So the Peters one's 1.6 million, and the Peckham Street is like 910,000. And because I guess you get first dibs on grants, if you're shovel ready to go, and they have the money, they're gonna give it to you right away. So we'll be in a good position, and he feels strongly that these will be funded. So that's the good news, I guess. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, let's see where we are. I entertain April 5th, 2022, from the docket of April 5th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve expending such funds and any future grant amendments for the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program municipal grant of approximately $48,000 from the Mass DEP awarded to the Health Department.
Second.
Thank you. So this is a grant that we don't have to match, and so that's wonderful. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And then, let's see. From the docket of February 22nd, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the request to install a pole, 1071, on County Street and install an intermediate pole, 1071-1, 106 feet from new pole 1071.
Second.
Thank you. This is we just had the public hearing. It's just a wood telephone pole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So I have two more. So from the docket of February 15th, I would like to make a motion to strike the new business to refer to the administration of the Department of Public Works for study and recommendation to add honorable municipal counselor, at least ward counselor, to the discussion with DPW superintendent regarding city improvement as it relates to new streets and sidewalks, as well as repairs and replacements of such prior to the activity taking place.
Second.
Thank you. So this is the new business that came in last month. That was referred to the administration, and everybody got a copy of the mayor's email on that. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of February 15th, 2022, I move to strike the new business referred to the administration and DPW for the study and recommendation to request that DPW superintendent come before the council at the committee of the whole with the department's recommendations and reasonings for targeting those areas for improvements prior to any repairs or replacements of roadways, sidewalks, etc. taking place.
Second.
Thank you. Same as above. Does anybody have any questions? Council Holmes?
Thank you. So I think that the hope was that we had more clarification on just the areas that were going to occur, and maybe that would come down from the mayor to tell us.
Well, I know DPW has a plan, like of all, they have a list, they have a punch list of stuff that's in repair. If you want, I can get that for you.
Okay, thank you. I think it would be helpful for us to have. That was the hope of the new business.
And I believe in going along with this, and council's concerns are that we can call DPW into a council meeting anytime that we have concerns about what is happening, or prior to things happening, to ask what's going on, what is the plan, as you said, so that we could call the DPW superintendent in, or any department head,
Of course.
to request more information if we chose
Absolutely.
to.
We have that right at any time.
I think at one time we were concerned about that because we had been told, I believe, that we couldn't actually have conversations with the department heads without going through the administration. And that is why, that did happen. I mean, that did happen.
Yes, it did.
Thank you, Councilor Conti.
Was that when I was here?
It happened to
did.
me.
Yeah, it happened. So I'm saying that's why I think we believed that we were no longer allowed to really do that, because they had to then check with the mayor to see if, or the administration, to see if they could come down. So I think we've clarified that. The mayor did put it in the email, that we can call them down at any time. And so I feel comfortable that if that comes up, we
Yeah,
can do that without further ado.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't aware, I wasn't aware of anything to that effect, but
But it did happen.
yeah, I'm not saying I don't believe you. That's why I asked if it was when I was here. But I know that we cannot call department heads to ask them to do things.
No.
Like, you know, we
No,
can't,
definitely
because
not.
clearly they don't work for us. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? Are you all set?
I am all set, thank you.
Nobody else? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that's all the business I have for Public Works. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 8:38. Second? Anybody?
Second, sorry.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, thanks.
And that's a wrap.
Oh,
No,
No.
not
we
quite, but it will be
License.
2 minutes. Okay.
You were close, though.
I would like to call the License Committee to order at 8:38. We'll still get a late dinner. And we have 3 members here. We have Councilor DeSimone, Councilor Dolan, and myself. So there is one motion that I would like to put forth from the docket of March 15th, 2022. Did you have a question?
Oh, no, I'll wait till you're done.
Okay.
I was just fixing my hair.
I just saw a hand go up fast. Sorry. On the docket of March 15th, 2022, I entertain a motion to approve the Class 2 license application submitted by Papantoniitis, I struggle with that, Automotive Group, Inc., DBA Toy Cars Motorsports at 676 Pleasant Street with 17 customer and 95 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. We met with these folks last week at the public hearing. I thought everything went smoothly. I've been out there to count the spaces. It's a little difficult because they still have the wider spaces there for all the school buses as we speak. But there is plenty of space out there for these numbers. And the customer spaces, I was able to count accurately. And now I will take questions.
Thank you. So my concern was, one of the gentlemen mentioned that they were going to keep the Pleasant Street Automotive name. So their DBA on file is the Toy Cars. I think Jack Jacoby said they should have on file as well a DBA under the name of Pleasant Street Auto, so that people know whom they're dealing with if they go to Pleasant Street Auto.
So if we approve this tonight,
I think that's fine, but if you would look into that, because this was raised at the public hearing, I had concerns.
I will call Attorney Jacoby.
Yep.
And I will I agree with you.
Yeah, and he said he would. All I'm saying is, can we confirm before this is voted out, before the full council votes?
The whole council, so that we actually have the name that we think is going to be up there.
Well, two names. That's
Two
secure.
names.
They're going to use two names.
Well, I mean, the Pleasant Street Auto isn't on this motion.
Exactly. And it needs to be on file with the city as a DBA.
Yes.
So
So
you
they
could
are,
confirm.
they're planning on keeping that sign up there, because I asked them that.
Yep.
So thank you for that.
Yes.
Is there any other questions? Councilor Conti?
Do you know when the bus contract closes for that location?
I believe it's June. I believe it. I don't know that 100%.
And my second question is, does our license process suitably restrict the activity on that site to the sale of automotives only? Yes?
I'm going to defer the answer, because you may know something I don't know.
Okay, so they can't get into selling dirt bikes and motorcycles.
That's what you were thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. Yes.
And we asked them now at the public hearing as well.
Yeah, but I didn't think that his answer was committal.
No, he,
You know, he said that he was going to go into the business where the market led him.
yeah,
Well, I would assume, I mean,
he did.
He did say that.
well, we're gonna, you know,
We'll worry
why
about
am I
that when it
speaking?
happens.
I'm sorry, I don't even know why I'm talking, I apologize.
Because I deferred to you. You were
It's history, counselor, it's history.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
You can feel free to talk if you want to.
I mean, you know, he's right there on the main drag. You know, we see four-wheelers out there, they're gonna hear from us, if that was the case. And they would have to amend their license,
That-
if that would even, if that area suits it. If he can sell four-wheelers all day long, as long as he's licensed properly. But right now, Class 2 is just
Right.
the used vehicles.
So when I speak to Councilor Jacoby, I will mention this as well.
Behind my concern, counselor, is the flagrant violation of the use of dirt bikes and four-wheel ATVs throughout the city, both on the streets and off the streets in prohibited locations. And that to have someone in the city selling them would only encourage that prohibited behavior. Yeah, which would cause problems for us on the council in a major way.
Much
I have it in
appreciated.
my
Yes.
neighborhood.
No, I will bring that up.
Okay, thank you.
So can I,
Yes, Councilor Reynolds.
so I'm just going to fall back in line with Councilor Conti, because I got under the impression in the public hearing that because they do have this Toy Cars Motorsports, and they push that kind of equipment, yeah, you know. So I think sooner or later, he will come back to us looking for that kind of thing. But when you go to the clerk's office, there should be, I just want to clarify this, 2 permits. One will say that name, Automotive Group, and it's going to be at Pleasant Street. And then there's going to be one that says Toy Cars Motorsports at Pleasant Street. That's what Jack Jacoby, Attorney Jacoby, told us he would make sure happened, because they are going to have 2 websites as well. He told us that. So there should be 2 permits at the city clerk's office in 2 different names, but at the same property.
Okay.
Do you recall, so
Yeah,
just so
well,
that you can recall that, but that's
yes, I do
definitely, you
recall
want to
that.
see 2 of them. I don't know if it will say doing business as, but 2 of those permits should be there,
Okay,
okay?
appreciate it.
Yeah, just a reminder.
Thank you.
Yes, and just to clarify, to sort of build on Councilor Reynolds' statement there were 2 that were mentioned, 2 separate operations. One was the repair and maintenance operation that would be under that Pleasant Street name, and one is for the auto sales for the
That's
Class
correct.
2 license.
That's my understanding.
Okay, thank you,
Yes.
yes.
So 2
But also the 2 names, 2 permits, and I will also mention that to the attorney.
Okay.
Councilor Luizio.
More of a point of order, just remember, we don't have a meeting next week, so it gives you 2 weeks to be able to get that
2 weeks.
information. It's the 5th Tuesday next week. But what I would add, to Councilor Conti's earlier point, I asked them straight out, when you're talking toy cars, what are you talking about? What are you gonna be selling? They were pretty adamant that it was going to be just, passenger vehicles, trucks and cars, so.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Because when I hear toy cars, especially spelt funny, I'm thinking, are we doing dirt bikes? Are we doing the ATVs? Are we doing the, the power motorcycle thing? So, just kind of stuff to keep in mind. I think transparency here is going to be important. And the guy seemed like he had his stuff together. He seemed like, he understands the industry, he understands the business, he understands customer service. That's all good. I mean, I remember the end of 2021, poor Councilor Dolan was being called every name under the book by some of these dealers. I'm hopeful we don't see that with this gentleman. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts?
Just
Complete the circle.
more of a, I completely agree with President Delicio. I think he's spot on with what he's saying, and I'm excited to see some life back into that business up there. I think that it's going to serve that section of the town. Plus, he did say a lot of it is going to be done online as well too, and it's going to be a lot of SUVs and trucks and some some cars as well too.
Yeah.
That's all.
Are we all set? Shall we have a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
I say aye. All those
Oh,
opposed?
me, aye.
Yeah, well, you might have been opposed.
Yep, she's opposed.
No, no.
You're aye. Okay, the vote passes 3-0. And I will call for an adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that concludes the business tonight.
Kathleen and Rick,
It was very helpful.
we should probably talk